And now we're on a path of return. That's why we're moving now into the age of Aquarius, because as you know, Aquarius comes before Pisces. But because we, like the prodigal son, went out into the far country and we've gone to the full extent of our experience in matter, we, like the prodigal son, is now on the return path. My name is Etta Jackson. I am the author of, I always say 3.5 books, because I authored 3 books, and the 4th is actually chapter 8 of the 3rd book that I made into an ebook, because I thought that I would love for people to read that chapter about the United States of America. And so I made it into just a small volume. So I've authored these 3 books on the ancient mysteries. Ever since I was very young, 5, 6, 7 years old, I've always known that I came here. I came to the planet. So I had a conscious knowledge of having come here, and that I came here with a clear purpose. And had sort of unbroken memory from this side to the other side. So when I was young, a lot of what I heard, I knew much of it was not really how things were, because that was not my knowledge and my memory from, my experience coming from the other side. So from an early age, I've had this tube of golden white light that has enveloped me and has been a true guidance in my life. But again, I had a lot of memory from the other side, being clear about what I came here to do. When I was very young, I used to tell my mother that I came here to help with the liberation of humanity. And of course, as a 6, 7-year-old, you don't know what that meant, but I knew on a soul level that that's what I came here to do. And it's over the years, it's been interesting to watch how that has unfolded. And for me, the 2 things that are paramount in my life were the writing of the books. That was one of the purpose for coming here. And the other was working with the United Nations in improving the lives of those who are especially in the underdeveloped countries in the world. So that's my knowledge of my reason for coming here, and also just allowing for the full development of that memory so that I could walk and step into the purpose that I came to the planet for. So Understanding Your Choice was given to me to write back in 1975 by a tube of gold and white light who instructed me. I was standing at the street corner here in Brooklyn, New York, and the light said to me, write this title down. This is the title of a book that you will write. And the title given to me was Understanding Your Choice. So I wrote it down, and I was sort of surprised because I was very young at that time, 29 years old, and I had never written a book before. And I took out my notepad and I wrote down the title that was given to me by the light, Understanding Your Choice. I looked at it and I said, me? Like, are you kidding? I am not an author, I'm not a writer, I don't know what understanding your choice means. And I kind of objected and I kept arguing with the light for really 25 years. Every 5 to 10 years, the title would pop up in my mind again, and I would keep saying to the light, I think you have the wrong person, because I don't know what understanding your choice means, and I don't think I'm the person to write this book. But I just dismissed it because I just was sure that the light had the wrong person. And this went on for 25 years. I left New York during that time, and I came back to New York in the year 2000 temporarily. And in the apartment I was staying, the light said to me then, it is now time to write the book. And at first I said, what book? Because I totally had forgotten about the book, because it was 25 years prior that I was given the title to write, in the book to write. But I instantly remembered about that book, Understanding Your Choice, and for the first time in 25 years I didn't argue anymore, because I knew by then that I was to write this book. And I began writing it. And after writing the first chapter, the light said to me, the rest of the book must be written in London. So I called up my friend in London, who I'd gone to high school with, and said, could I come stay with you so I could write this book? And one of the reasons for writing the book in London, as I was told by the light, is that the book needed to be written in an academic format, with an index, bibliography, references, etc. And that there were all these esoteric libraries in London where I could access the references. So I went to London and I wrote the book. During the writing of the book in London, I was completely enveloped by an intense golden light the whole time I was writing the book. And that the book was meant to bring this ancient knowledge to humanity. I was told that at the end of the Piscean age, where we are now, that humanity would be in a lot of fear. They would be scared, disoriented, and wouldn't understand what is going on. And that the book was meant, Understanding Your Choice, was meant to help humanity to better understand what is happening and why, to basically provide context for what humanity was experiencing, that we're at the end of one age and we're at the beginning of another. So we're at this washover period, the end of the age of Pisces and the beginning of the age of Aquarius. So during this tumultuous time of ending something that we've known for 2,160 years and moving into a new age, but we've not completely ended one, and we're not fully into the other as yet. So during this tumultuous time that humanity would be in a lot of fear and a lot of confusion, and Understanding Your Choice is meant to help people understand where we are, why we're here, what is going on, and the decision to come here. If that is better understood, we could then understand what is going on and why. The title of the book, Understanding Your Choice, which evaded me for a long time, for many years. I didn't understand what is understanding your choice. But as the light said to me, when humanity is able to understand that he made a decision to come here, to be part of an experiment, and that his whole life is about that choice that we made to come into this incarnation and to have these experiences between the pairs of opposites, the light and the dark, good and evil, the above and the below, the within and the without, and all the pairs of opposites, gender, male and female, when we are able to fully understand the reason why we came here and what was the purpose for coming here, it would make the experiences that we're having less fearful. I was also told that the book should be couched in the story of the prodigal son. The story of the prodigal son is one in which there were two brothers who lived with their father in a palace, and at some point the younger of the two brothers decided that he no longer wanted to stay in that protected, cloistered environment. He needed to leave this place of comfort and security and go out into the far country. He needed to go out into distant lands where he would meet his brothers and sisters so that he could understand himself better. So the story of the prodigal son is one in which he left and he went out and he broke all the rules. He did everything that was contrary to what he was brought up to do at home in the palace. And at some point when he had gone to the full extent of his experience in the far country, as the story goes, he said, "It's now time for me to go back to the Father's house." Well, this is where humanity is now. We're at the end of the age of Pisces, having gone through 12 cycles. We've gone into the far country, and now we're on the path of return. That's why we're moving now into the age of Aquarius, because as you know, Aquarius comes before Pisces. But because we, like the prodigal son, went out into the far country and we've gone to the full extent of our experience in matter, we, like the prodigal son, is now on the return path. And is that return path, having lived 2,160 years of the age of Pisces, and we're not only at the end of the age of Pisces, we're also at the end of the cosmic year of Pisces, which is 25,920 years. 12 times 2,160 years. So we're at the end of two huge cycles. And why it's so tumultuous? And why is it that we're confused about what is happening? But as is like the prodigal son, we're on that return path back to the Father's house. When this young son decided to go home, he was afraid that his father would not accept him because he had broken all the rules. And this really is to speak to the fact that there is no condemnation, there is no judgment. The Father would not have allowed you to go out into the distant lands to experience all of life and then condemn you. But the very experiences that He said that He wants you to go out and have. And so here we are at this point where we're having to deal with religious dogma that says, if you do this, you go to hell, and if you do that, you go to heaven, and there's no such thing. And that's why in the age of Aquarius is about the dissolving of all of these boundaries, all of these dictates, all of these boundaries, all of these walls that have prevented us from having a full knowledge and full experience of who we are. They're being dissolved so that we can experience the freedom of who we are, totally accept who we are with all of our experiences, the so-called good and the so-called bad. All of those experiences between the pairs of opposites are meant to help you to gain a knowledge, an understanding, and the wisdom of who you are, and this grand experience and this grand experiment that we all chose to come on. That is what understanding your choice is about. And at the end of writing Understanding Your Choice, the light said to me, you have 2 other books to write. And the titles were given to me. Unveiling the Secrets of the Feminine Principle which explains who the Divine Mother is, who is the creative principle of the universe. It is she, not he, she who created all the things that are in creation. She gave birth to everything that we know in creation. And it's now time for her to come forward to help humanity understand that she, who has been behind the scenes all the time, is stepping forth so that not only men, but especially women can come into their power, knowing that they are equally powerful as men, and to take their rightful place in the grand play of the universe. And so understanding your choice, unveiling the secrets of the feminine principle, is to help women, especially, to come to know that they are not second-class citizens, and that they're inferior to no one, and that they're more powerful beyond measure. And that, in essence, is what unveiling the secrets of the feminine principle is. The third book, The Role of Consciousness in Governance, is meant to help humanity to understand what Masonry is, Freemasonry. For many people, they have heard or think they know what Masonry is. But Masonry is an ancient body of knowledge that was given to humanity at the beginning of time. What we know as Masonry is more of a social order. True Masonry, very few people know what true Masonry really is. And I was asked to articulate in the role of consciousness, the role of consciousness in governance, the foundation on which all governments are actually founded, especially the United States. The United States is not a religious country. It was founded on Freemasonry. And when you truly understand what Freemasonry is, you'll understand that it's a body of knowledge that was given to help you understand the brotherhood of humanity. That we're all one. We have the same parents, the Divine Mother and the Divine Father. And though we might look differently on the outside, that we are all from the same fabric. And as the age of Aquarius would help us better understand that we will come to know, in fact, that we're one. This age of Aquarius, which is the age of the brotherhood of man, will help us because of the dissolving of all the boundaries and all the borders that we've constructed to keep ourselves separate from one another and in conflict, will be torn down. And Pluto, Uranus, and Neptune, which are the three outer planets and the three energies associated with the soul, is now about to break down the personality and bring the soul into expression so that we can come to know who we truly are. And this is why the Divine Mother created the internet, in part, to help us connect with one another. She's the one who connects nation to nation and man to man, that we can connect with our brothers and sisters from one end of the planet to the other. And so, in essence, this is what the three books are about, and I invite your audience to go to my website and check them out. Some people think that they're kind of heavy, but this is, what I'd say is that I was asked to take this body of arcane knowledge and to make it as accessible as possible to the largest percentage of humanity. So as heavy as some people might think they are, I have made them easier than if you would have to have read them try to decipher them on your own. Because the books are written in the context of my own personal experience, and why it took 25 years for me to write them from the time I was given them to write is because I had to walk those 25 years of my own spiritual journey, so that when I wrote the books, I was not just referring to somebody else's work, but I knew the context of all of that information because I had walked it myself. Why we are having these big events? Absolutely. Because I was talking about Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus. Pluto is a planet that will just literally tear down everything that is outdated, outmoded, no longer needed for where you're going. So right now we're having Pluto, all the big planets, Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus, is literally reorienting us, literally changing directions altogether. And that's why everything seems so messy and turbulent. And they're helping to facilitate the transformation that we're going through. Because, uh, there's a symbol in the tarot of keys 16 called the Tower, where there's a lightning strike, and the lightning strikes the head, the tower, the top of the tower, which symbolizes the head. The lightning strike is really to change the way you think, because the way we live is based on our ideas that we have about life. Our ideas about life, what we think becomes our reality. So the reality that we're living as a world is based on false ideas. It's based on this notion that you and I are not one. I am better than you, or you're better than me. That money is superior to wisdom. All of these illusions that we've been living in. So what's happening now is that there's a lightning strike to the head, and it's literally crushing the very foundation on which we have operated. And that foundation has to crumble in order for us to be able to reconstruct the rubble into a new structure based on equity, fairness, oneness, equality. And so there's a part in the Bible that says that you cannot put new wine in old sheepskin, meaning that you cannot build a new structure on an old foundation. So what is literally happening is that the foundation of illusion, separation, domination by one group over another, misogyny, oppression, that foundation cannot build the new structure of the Aquarian age that we say we want to live in. And so we can't want a good future, but we want to keep the old stuff. That doesn't work. So what we're experiencing is literally the foundation of all of that we say we don't want. What we're experiencing is that foundation crumbling. And it feels scary. But when you understand that that's what's happening, you say, okay, now I understand. Because you know that, things are changing. Because the very fact that the foundation is crumbling means that we now can rebuild using the same material, but build a new structure based on a new consciousness, one of fairness, one of brotherhood, one of kindness, love, and equity and fairness. The planet is a live entity. And so it's going through its stage, just like how humanity on the planet is going through its transformation. The planet, that is a living entity, is also going through its transformation. Because we and the planet are in a synergistic relationship with each other. So one cannot be changing and the other one not changing. So because we're all going the same place, we're becoming more conscious. The planet is becoming a star. And so for that to happen, it has to go through its changes also. And that's why all the weather disruptions. It's the change that it's experiencing. We're moving now into the age of Aquarius, which is the age, as I said, the age of the brotherhood of man. And the age of Aquarius is ruled by both Uranus and Saturn. Saturn is like the tradition, or we'd say the older people, and the Uranus are these younger people. So this age is ruled by the more mature and those who are new, who are just coming in. And we are to work together so that we can we have the wisdom and you have the knowledge of this future. You're the future and we're the past, but we have information that's important to both of us and to the world. And so the age of Aquarius will see a new world. We will see a world in which we respect one another, regardless of age, culture, money, education, because we will just not see what people look like. We will get to know who they are. We will go behind the facade of what people look like, what they have, what their culture is and how much money they have. We will go beyond that because our eyes will be open to see into instead of just looking at. And so as we come to know one another more in this Aquarian age, we will come to recognize that in fact we're brothers and sisters and that we have the same mother and that we will come together in peace, harmony, equity, equality, justice, fairness, and we'll create a new world. So as tumultuous as this time is, I am not afraid of what's going on because I know that this is it's like a woman giving birth. It's painful and it's messy, but at the end, there's a new child and we will all rejoice and be happy together. But we have to go through this period and why these books are important to help you navigate this difficult time that we're going through. Because the more you understand, it's like a woman giving birth, the more she understands about the process, she can then work with the midwife to ease the discomfort because she has a better understanding of what's going on. When you're ignorant and you experience turmoil, you become afraid because you don't understand what's happening. And so the light told me specifically that understanding your choice especially will give context to humanity's fears and is intrepidation and frightfulness about the turbulence that he's experienced so that he can navigate these experiences more effectively. First of all, you have to be aware that you need change. You can't change what you refuse to see. It's like you never go to the doctor unless you know that you're ill. You don't go to So you have to first be aware that something needs to be changed in me for you to begin the journey to change. And one of the reasons I wanted to come on I didn't want to necessarily come on your show. I suggested and recommended that your audience read Understanding Your Choice because I see that your site, your podcast is really about near-death experiences. So people are having these mystical experiences, and it's their soul really giving them a jolt. And what I wanted to be able to say to you, or to say to your audience, is that understanding your choice, especially after going through a near-death experience, will give you the grounding information that you need. Because the near-death experience is not that you're become enlightened. I know that anytime people feel that, oh, I had this mystical experience and now I'm enlightened. No, you're not. You're just beginning your journey. And why I reached out to you and said maybe your audience might want to read Understanding Your Choice, because now that they've had that real push by their soul to wake up, that this will sort of give them the step-by-step guidance to full consciousness. And so Understanding Your Choice is 7 chapters of very profound information that if you really avail yourself of that knowledge, you'll have a much better understanding of the whole process and what your soul was saying to you during that near-death experience.